Have you guys ever blacked out before? You ever had the feeling of like waking up?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
But you're just like awake?
Not for real. Like
We've
not
been
like a real
unconscious.
choke out situation.
Been choked out and been knocked out.
I mean like you're just doing something and then you wake up.
Oh no, I've never had that.
Oh, I've came
I've
out. You mean
fainted.
like, well, if you mean coming out of like a really intense daydream where, or maybe even highway hypnosis. I've done that. Where,
Something along those lines, yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, that's a really weird
startling
feeling.
at first. It's like,
It's
ooh,
very odd.
I was not in control a moment
Yeah.
ago. How long was that moment? Because I also have
Exactly.
a perception of time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that happened to me a lot in a very short period of time, and I was like, probably gonna die from a tumor. My great grandfather died from lesions in his brain and used to black out, and he was like 25 years old when he died. And so in my mind, my dad's mind, when he was growing up, he thought he was going to die from tumors when he was 25 years old. Everyone always thought we were going to all die from tumors when we were 25 years old. And like we all have terrible migraines and stuff. So it's like all these head, like, oh, what do you feel like today? Oh, everything's black and white today. Is it a tumor or is it just a normal migraine aura? So like for a while, I was like, I thought that there was something severely wrong with me, but it's just a consequence of migraine. Sometimes I'll be sitting at my computer and then I'll just be like, I'll literally just wake up and just be not doing anything, like no hypnosis, nothing like that. And I'll just fucking alive. Shut up.
Dog
That
said,
startled the dog. That's that little jerk. He's seen you do that. before.
you want those love?
Yeah.
That's really scary. How often does that occur?
About once a month.
Pretty
About once a month.
consistently, like throughout.
Pretty consistently. Yeah, there was one time though, or one period of time in which it was very bad, and I was actually listening to PKA, which is pretty ironic, and I was talking to my cousin, who is one of my co PKA bros, and we were playing. I think it was Warzone when Warzone first came out, like a couple years ago, and I was sitting at my computer, and I was playing Warzone, and I think I died. And I was just sitting and watching some kind of cam or scene or something play by, and he was playing. And I heard like this bang at my door. And I was in the basement, and I heard a bang at the front door. And I was like, oh my God, what is that? And then I walked upstairs and there was nobody at the door. And then I looked at the time and like 15 minutes had gone by. And Clint, my cousin, was not he left the call. He thought I like left. And my game was just like sitting there. I disconnected and I woke up. Literally, I thought someone banged on my door, and that's how I arose. But there was no bang, and it was just like this loud sound of coming back to. And then I got really nervous because I was like, "That's not good." So I started having like a little bit of a slight panic attack. But while I was having a panic attack, I also felt like I was passing out as well. So, and I was like walking around trying to not fall asleep. Which was it was one of the strangest things that I've ever experienced in my entire life. And when I came out of it, I was like, okay, I think I'm good. I think I feel normal. But the whole time I was like quizzing myself, like, am I dying? Like, is there something wrong with me? What is I was doing math and trying to remember stuff. Everything was totally cool. I felt like I was passing out, but I was awake and standing and not like low blood sugar or anything like that. And I had a little micro blackout moment.
Jeez.
It was weird.
But your instinct
never
was
had
to
that.
walk around and get active?
My instinct was to do whatever I could to not sit still, to panic more.
I was the opposite.
Interesting.
Yeah, I told the story on PKA. What was it, 9 months ago maybe, when I fainted?
Mhm.
And I remembered it better when I told it the first time, but it was very late at night, like 4 a.m. or something, and I had to pee or whatever. I was very focused on not making a mess. I didn't want that, the mess or the embarrassment of having made a mess or anything like that. And, but like, so I finished peeing. I just wanted to get back to bed and lay down. I felt like if I could lay down, it doesn't even matter if I pass out. Really, how's that different than sleeping? Fuck it, that's cool. So my instinct was to like get to bed, but I didn't. And instead, I like fainted and kind of had like a epileptic fit sort of thing where like I was aware of my head banging on the tile, but it almost felt like it wasn't me. Like, is that guy okay?
I've had that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. After a bad like head injury. I wonder if in my case, the epileptic seizure, it wasn't epileptic. The seizure was a symptom of the head injury. I wonder if you passed out because of, I don't know, let's call it low blood sugar, or you stood up too quickly, or like maybe you like buckled your knees while you pee. I know some people do that. Some people pass out because of that. They buckle their knees a little backwards and it cuts off some blood flow, and they get some like shock of blood that leaves their brain quickly to fill the gap when they stand up correctly, I think. And then they black out, and then you bump your head, and then you seize. Like maybe that. Did you have a bump on your head? Did it?
No. I think I probably managed to land softly.
Yeah. So that probably gets rid of my little theory there. That was scary when you told us that. I'm glad that nothing has come of that, and it was maybe it was a dream. Maybe it didn't even happen. You know?
How did it start?
I felt kind of sick in bed, and I thought if I like went up, I had to go to the bathroom and did that I would feel better afterwards. And as I was peeing, I like felt it like I knew that I was in a bad way, and I just wanted to get back to bed. That was like my tag or the home base where I'd be safe again.
Yeah, and your brain's not working very well at that point.
Right.
Probably.
Yeah,
so you've got this very animalistic. That's home base. Got to get there.
Yeah, well phrased. And but the actual onset of it was like I finished doing my business, and I think I like guided myself down during the pass out, and then it was like it was dark, and I was like concerned for somebody else's welfare. Like, it's like, is that guy okay? And what keeps hitting my head? Like
when you say you felt sick, did you feel nauseous?
No, dizzy.
Dizzy, you felt dizzy. You didn't feel like nauseous or anything in your stomach? You didn't feel any like gastrointestinal things?
Right.
Okay.
I used to have heart stuff too. So I was really, really in shape. I was a college athlete, worked out 6 days a week. About 3 or 5 of those days would be twice a day, 6 days a week. And so I was super duper fit, but I had some issues. One, my pulse got really high, like 240, 30 something. Yeah. Wow. And one time I was a lifeguard, and they put an EKG on me. Like everyone got a physical at the start of the year, and I failed it. Like I forget what was wrong in particular.
Was it during? I don't want to interrupt your story, but was it during exercise?
You literally just went to the doctor's office. They put some things on your chest and made sure you were healthy enough to be a lifeguard. Okay. And they're like, "Not this guy." I'm like, "Fuck!" But I really want to be a lifeguard. Yeah. So I went to my personal doctor instead of like the city one, and I did better that time. So I kept working. But man, I'm like, there's something there a little bit.
Yeah, I think it's humans too. It's like there's a lot of stuff you can do that can influence your heart. Your body's nervous system is so sensitive and like so complex. And like me, for example, I thought I would have to have a fucking catheter in my femoral artery go up into my heart and shock like a couple of years ago. That was like what I was looking forward to, or fretting or whatever. And now I'm like, I feel pretty normal. Like I feel, I don't feel safe always like driving alone and stuff and fucking, doing shit alone. But I feel pretty normal, which is good.
You have always wondered about my EKG. So like, dude, this is gay as fuck. But the doctor, the first one that took the bad EKG, was a lifeguard like a few years earlier. So he was going to med school. And then in the summers, he was a lifeguard, and he was like a legend. This guy had his like, to make it even gayer, he's wildly good looking. He's a lifeguard in the summer. In winter, he's med school. And he wasn't just a regular guard. Like he represented the city in our like, there are all these lifeguard competitions that seem like a big deal when you're a lifeguard. And I think he rowed the boat or something like that. But he was one of and rowing the boat, those are like the jacked, like coolest guys. They're cooler than the swimmers. Yeah. And that's what he is. So he's this fucking like doctor, city representing competitor in the boat, lifeguard, fucking gorgeous. And he was like a legend. Well, he was a guard the year before, but not this year. He's just starting as a doctor now. And I'm like, oh my God, like this fucking legend here measuring my heart. And I think he sent my gay heart a flutter and I failed the EKG.
You just needed a female doctor the whole time to keep you calm and didisinterested.
I held
He's like, just relax, and you're like every muscle tight, just like trying to look jacked.
I think that might have been related to why I failed my EKG.
It might be. I mean, 240.
Yeah.
high as fuck.
I feel like
and it's like really confirmed. Like you'd think, oh well, Woody just sucks at taking pulse. But one, I was an athlete. I was really good at taking pulse. Two, other people would take my pulse on my neck, and they'd be like, "Shit, it really is."
Yeah,
and
it's crazy.
three, I've done it with like the straps that you wear that like connect to your watch,
Mhm.
and all three, like
The Whoop.
me, other people, and digital device, all get the same scores. It's just true.
Mhm.
So you still have that now?
I don't think so. I don't think I could get it to beat that fast anymore. I'm 51, but
yeah, if you ever go to the hospital or doctor about that, definitely ask them about like testing, bringing a Holter monitor home while you're sleeping, just so you can get some tests on your heart rate, and also POTS as well, which I don't think POTS is, I probably shouldn't bring that up because there's like a lot of people who fucking suffer from POTS, like they can't stand up or they pass out.
I know a person like that.
Yeah, that's terrible.
And even while she is standing, you talk to her and she'll like take a knee and then stand back up again. She's, I don't want to give away who she is. She's not my friend. She's someone I know's friend. She's in her 20s. And I swear you look at her through a different lens because she's like supermodel good looking. So she needs to take a knee while talking to you for no reason. And it's like, oh, it's cool. Yeah, we can overlook this.
Just doing lunges. Don't worry about it.
Right.
Staying in shape.
Staying fit.
Staying fit.
I get those fucking panic attacks, and the cold water in the face thing is such just an off switch for the panic attack.
What causes you to panic, Kyle?
It's it's the fight, flight, or freeze response in my brain overreacting. It usually, something thrilling won't do it. So it would never happen if I were in like a fucking gunfight or a fist fight, or if I were jumping off a mountain. I'm fine then. I mean, I'm not fine. I might be getting beaten to death or murdered, or falling off a mountain. But I won't freeze and go unconscious. But if like I got a phone call that said a loved one died, or a phone call that says the house is on, your house is on fire. I get that phone call.
Yeah,
or,
it's like
it has been before.
Yeah.
Someone sent me, a friend of theirs had been diagnosed with terminal cancer. And their opening text message to me was a picture of those results. And so I thought that it was my dad who's dying of cancer. And so I just had a meltdown, I'm like, you're dying. And I had a complete panic attack. Also, but going back to when I was 15, when I had the first one, it was a bully that I was standing up to. And I was like, he's going to cream me. This guy's going to destroy me, but I'm tired of it. I'm like, I shove him in the chest. Fuck you. Let's do it. And I didn't pass out there, but I went to the bathroom and went completely unconscious in like one of the stalls. I had an argument with my dad when I was 16 or 17 about a girl I was dating, and he didn't think that I should be with this girl, and I wanted this and that. I'm going to move here and do this and that. And he's like kicking me out of the house. He's like, and to me, there's no like, it's like a no-win scenario that sends me into these things. Like it's not a fight or a struggle. It's the no-win scenario when it's like, it's not that this is going to happen. It's like, this just happened and there's nothing you can do about it. And I just completely freeze. I get short of breath. And it's like when you stand up too quickly and maybe you see that like darkness that sort of slowly sweeps down, and a timer has begun. I've had enough of these to know that we're on the clock here. We got 7-10 seconds, something like that, before I'm hitting the ground 100% unconscious. And if I don't plan accordingly, I'll hit it hard. I've fallen on the asphalt before and like woken up all skint up. I tripped over my goddamn rowing machine. The last one, I think. I was like, I started panicking in my office and I'm trying to make it to the bathroom through the sink. And I tripped over that goddamn rowing machine because it was in the hallway. And man, when I woke up, my feet were up, my head was down, and the back of my skull is just aching. I had a big old knot on the back of my head because I went backwards, like over it. I had like a cartoon fall where I'm like backing up and like spinning my arms in the air and stuff. So
how long ago was that one?
2 years, 3 years. I think.
So you haven't had one in 2 or 3 years?
So most of the time it's full blown, but sometimes it'll be like this little flutter. It's like, oh, it's coming. Control it. Think about something else. Look over here, look over there, stand up, walk around, think, ignore. Blue balls, red, green, yellow, just whatever, just to make my brain do a thing that's not what it's doing right now. And I can like arrest it a little. Like I can stop it with my mind, But there's a point of no return, and it happens very quickly. And sometimes it's just like, oh, we're going down. Let's make it soft. Let's make it a soft landing. And there's been plenty of times where I felt it coming, and I just like jumped on the couch, like it's home base over there. I'm good. And when you're on the couch and you have a panic attack, it's like, here we go. This will be fun. It's not scary at all because I've done it so many times and I know what's coming. It's similar to when I pass out when I give blood. It's a very similar, like the going unconscious part, not the panicky, out of breath, adrenaline dump that is very uncomfortable. But like when I was giving blood that last time, I was like, hey, I'm going unconscious. I'm gonna need a wet rag, and hey, if I go completely out, don't call 911 or anything. We're good here. I'm gonna come right back to. I just and I did. I'm like, I'm so close to being asleep on that. I'm blind. I can't see. Like I go blind. Like I know what it is
like
to be
fully
blind.
That's crazy.
Like blind.
The question
when I went down to Walmart. Oh, that's the best one is the Walmart panic
one.
attack. Yeah, I was on mushrooms at a Walmart. And I started having a panic attack standing in line. And I told the girl I was with, I'm like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And that's all I said. Well, I stumbled right past the men's room into a sunglass kiosk, head-butted it on the way down with my face and all those little pokey things, and then woke up on the floor surrounded by Walmart people. And they were like, they think I'm dying.
I call his shoes.
Somebody hooked me up with a Gatorade out of one of those machines that's in all the lines in the checkouts, and I'm sitting there pretending like I'm not blind, but I'm blind. I'm sitting on my butt on the floor, and the reason I haven't gotten up and left isn't because I don't feel well. It's because I'm blind, and I'm not. I know that I'll eventually.
Are your
not
eyes
be blind.
open? Can you tell if they're open?
Oh yeah,
that's so scary.
Yeah. But it's sort of a bubbly black coal. It's like when you open your eyes in the night and it's completely pitch black, and it's sort of like you almost see like interference or something pattern, but it's blackness. There's no information being displayed on my brain. And eventually I sort of started coming to, and my girl, God, she's a hero. She's like, get up, we're going. And someone was like, he's had a head injury, he can't go. She goes, I'm a nurse, he's coming with me. And I was like, yeah, well, she had been. She had been before.
She had been.
This isn't the nurse that you know.
She's been kicked out of
the
hospital for ignoring symptoms.
She was a real had been.
Was a nurse.
Yeah, this is a different redheaded nurse I dated. I have a type. And but when we got to the door, the cops were showing up. You know, the cops were there, and the cop walked past me and like ran back around when she realized I was the guy making the disturbance. My face is bleeding a little from going down on the kiosk, but I got my shades on. My pupils are enormous.
But he also got on the kiosk.
The cop just missed you. Wait, you're telling me it was the fella with all the sunglasses stuck to his coat?
He was wearing 8 pair.
With the indents of the hanger imprinted on the side of his face?
She circled back and was like, hey, why'd you walk away from me? I'm like, you looking for me? What are you talking about? I had a little diabetic episode over there. My blood sugar got low. I'm trying to get to Sonny's barbecue.
I need a free Snickers right now. It has to be free. I'm gonna pay for it.
I pay for it. And then I'll pass out.
Right behind her is the EMT with 2 guys like huffing and puffing coming in with emergency gear. And she's like, "This is the guy," and they're like, "He's the guy." And I'm like, they're like, "He's the guy," and I immediately drop into Southern Kyle. I'm like, "I'm sorry, boys. I had a little diabetic episode in there. My blood sugar. I'm trying to get over at Sonny's barbecue though. It's good." And they're like, it is good, ain't it?
Anyways,
so Kyle, here's what I'm trying to ask. I had this thing when I was a teenager. I've told him many times. My house got robbed, and on game day, I confronted the robber. I chased the robber out the basement and out of the house, and this and that. And I was brave, Woody. But for the next 10 years, I had night terrors about it. I'd wake up in a sweat, terrified, and like my sense of self was a little confused. Like, am I an action hero or a coward? Because you can make an argument for either.
Yeah, John McClane wakes up with cold sweats too.
Do your panic attacks impact your sense of self? Like, how do you process that?
You know, I'll be honest. Tony Soprano made me feel so much better about my panic attacks that I am in no way ashamed of them.
That asshole made me feel bad about my BPAP. Don't you go praising him?
And then Julius Caesar to a lesser extent with the seizures, the epilepsy. It's you know, he was what Tony looked to make him feel better about his thing. He's like, you know, Caesar had those. Yeah, okay. Which is like Tony sees himself as little Caesar, right? And so like seeing it so well displayed on The Sopranos, they must have consulted with a doctor, or their writer just has panic attacks, because that's what it is. Like, I have Tony Soprano style panic attacks. Like, exactly what you see in that show is what it feels like, and like what it is. Like this slow realization that it's coming. And like, if anything, it's like, man, I'm going to embarrass myself and I'm going to scare people. That's my main concern. It's like, I'm going to scare people, and I'm trying to reassure anyone who's around me that like, hey, I'm about to go to sleep for a little while. Don't worry about it. It happens sometimes. Think of it as narcolepsy. It's cute.
It's funny that Tony Soprano offers you help in that way, because
that is interesting.
I feel that way about Tony's cholesterol.
When I order get a little gabagool, I think Tony would have had 3 pounds of gabagool. 1 pound is nothing.
Dude, I've never, you know, when you watch a TV show and you feel represented, seeing him stressed out, opening the lunch meat paper and eating it compulsively, I'm like, I get it. I get it. I've done that.
That's interesting, though.
You just need to eat your stress away.
I would have never guessed you had panic attacks. I would have never guessed.
Oh yeah, it's real. It's since I was 15 or so, I would say, and maybe once a year. It's just whenever some bad shit happens, or whenever I think some bad shit happens. It's often an overreaction. And I don't see it coming. You know, it can't be very well predicted when it's going to happen. But yeah, I've have maybe one every year or two. I almost had one maybe last year. Don't even remember why. An argument over something, but it like flutters up, and I can sort of control it sometimes. But cold water in the face always fixes it. It's a little bit a similar reaction to getting severely injured and going unconscious, like going into shock. Because I got stabbed one time in a sword fight, and I was going unconscious, and I threw cold water in my face then, and it's like, boom. That's no more. We're awake, and we feel good now. Now we can make rational decisions again. It just feels so good. Stupid homemade swords me and Scott had.
Based.
Boys being boys.